Everybody, everybody here is John Feld. Today I'm going to do my list of the top 10 overrated movies. These are movies that, while I hear many people talking about them and being like, wow, this is so amazing, I personally don't get the appeal, whether I think it's bad or just not as good as people say it is. These are movies that I personally think are overrated. So let's get to number 10. We have the Shawshank Redemption. So I saw this film like I think a few months ago. I was just looking at my dad's old DVD collection. Yeah, I still use DVDs, and I was there, and I really like this movie. I like the characters. I like the villain. It's a film that really got me, but I don't know. Like, many people put it under like best films of all time list, and it just didn't hit that for me. It's a good movie. Character's good. The acting is good, but like, I hear all these people saying it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Some people say it's the greatest movie. I think it's number one on IMDb's list, and I feel like there's so many movies better, like The Godfather, or Godfather 2, Wizard of Oz, Lawrence of Arabia, and I know these are all classics. It's not, but I don't know. I just don't feel that feeling. I don't feel like it's like one of the greatest films I've ever seen. There's no other films good. This one is just a good movie, a really good movie. It's not an experience that I will forget, no doubt. I just don't understand why it's always on people's like top 10 list. That really doesn't really catch me that way. But still, good movie. I still recommend it. So for number 9 on this list, we got the film La La Land. So this is kind of a little bit similar to the Shawshank Redemption thing, except unlike this one, it's not that the whole, I don't think it's like an amazing movie. I just think it's a really good movie. Because I like it, but I do have a few problems. I can do a review of this later, but I don't know. I feel like some scenes just feel a little rushed. I mean, the singing is great. I like the dancing, but it starts with the typical enemies to lovers tropes that I've seen a million times. Oh, they hate each other. They're never going to get together, despite the fact that they obviously do. The relationship, it's like, it's good, but it's not something where I'm like, oh, I really want them to get together. I kind of think they both actually work very well as individual characters. I do like the ending, though. But, yeah, I think if you just split it up, made one film for her, one film for that guy, and then they never got together, and in fact, they never even met. It was just an individual film for each. I think I would like it because they both have some great goals. They're both very wonderful. It's the relationship that I don't really see. Like, sometimes I feel the chemistry, and then other times it's just they're dating. But yeah, this film's a little overrated in my opinion. Number 8, Some Like It Hot. So like the other films, I like this a lot. It is absolutely hilarious. It is a funny little script seeing these men here and here. They do the Jessica woman trope, which, yeah, it's kind of old by now. But yeah, I like it. And I will admit, it is very important. It's one of the first films that stepped the Hays Code, which pretty much censored a bunch of movies because they did not want a whole film of men dressing up as women because, well, apparently that promotes homosexuality. I don't know. The Hays Code was very homophobic. So, yeah. And yeah, I acknowledge it for that. And even this film, again, is a hilarious film. The two lead actors make me laugh. Each one have these funny, quirky personalities. But at the same time, and I think it's because of the importance of being one of the first films that stood up to the Hays Code, it's seen as one of the greatest films of all time. The American Film Institute has this on their list of 100 greatest movies, and I don't see it. It's funny, but there have been so many comedies that are not only funny, but also very serious and kind of genuine, like The Apartment, directed by the same guy that directed this film, Billy Wilder. Also films like Tootsie, Network, they're funny, but there's also a sense of kind of seriousness and emotion to this. And yeah, the characters are interesting, and it is funny, but I don't get that. I mean, the relationship between one of the characters and the love interest, who is played by Marilyn Monroe, it doesn't interest me. In fact, Marilyn Monroe's character, Sugar, I'm not a fan of her. I mean, Marilyn Monroe is a good actress, but this is just one of the simple typecast, dumb, quirky blonde girls that I've seen her play a million times, and it is a disappointment because she's a good actress, and like she doesn't always do that. It was after like Niagara where it gets that, and like I really feel like you should use more of her talent, such as there put her there for main characters fall in love with, and demand the audience to stare at for an hour. Like honestly, I don't know. It's not one of the greatest movies of all time, like everybody says it is. It's still a hilarious movie and entertaining. You will have a good time watching it. I certainly did. Number 7, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So this one, it's like I saw it a few years ago. I think I was 12, 7th grade, and I don't know. I mean, it was funny, and Cameron is a good character, but I just don't know. It just doesn't hit me. I mean, it's not one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen. John Hughes has actually made better movies, especially about teenagers, like The Breakfast Club, which feels more relatable than this one. It's kind of what people in high school wish they could be, what I kind of wish I could be right now. The cool kid. The cool guy that does whatever he wants, skips school, doesn't feel any bad for it, doesn't get caught. Not the person who does what is told and likes it and all that stuff. That's what I get, that Ferris Bueller's the person that everybody wants to be. And you portray it nice, and if you want to see a little bad boy, rebellious fantasies come true, then I guess that's something, but this one just doesn't really get me. It's a guy skipping school, okay, interesting, but I don't know. It's just a guy skipping school. That's the thing. It's nothing really else added to it. I mean, yeah, there's principles there, but at the same time, we're kind of just getting an idiotic version of the constant principles bad trope that I've seen in many other high school movies. And yeah, and then Ferris is just a trope of the cool guy that gets everything. His girlfriend has nothing there to interest me. The only one that I actually love is Cameron, because he's depressed, and we see him kind of evolving. But other than that, like, it gets me a laugh, but it's also a little bit forgettable in my opinion. I've forgotten about it like a few times, and they just showed it again this film club that I saw, and I laughed, and then forgot about it like a day later, because you're gonna laugh. It is a funny but kind of forgettable experience. Number 6, American Graffiti. So, this is another movie that there's something like a hot situation. I like it very much, but shouldn't be on the list. And all the acting good. I like the little car. They just drive around their car in the mid-60s. Well, okay, early 60s, 62. There's these 50s music, doo-wop and the Beach Boys, and then they're just enjoying their last day before graduation, before kind of thinking of what direction they're going to take in their life forward. It doesn't leave a lasting experience on me. I like it, but it's not like I'm going to wake up the next day or thinking that was a great movie. It's not even like I'm going to be thinking that the minute the movie's over. You watch it. It happens. You know what I mean? You watch it, you like it, and then it's over, and then you just move on. It's not something that's gonna stay in your mind. We're gonna think, I've never seen anything like this. You have to watch this. No, it's good. It's good. It just happens. And it did show that George Lucas was able to create some good stuff before Star Wars. It was after Star Wars that he lost his creativity. But still, it's a good movie, but it's not really something you forget about it. Like, all you have to think is, like, the movie's over, I just take the little DVD out of my little player, and I'm not thinking, wow, oh my god. Like, no, I'm just thinking, okay, that's pretty good. See ya. Number 5, The Terminator. This movie is probably one of the most popular science fiction movies ever made. Schwarzenegger's very good. I like his accent. I like the line, "I'll be back." That said, there's a lot of crap in this movie. The effects are crap. Crap. I mean, the story is crap. Even some of the acting and the characters are crap. I don't get this. I mean, Terminator is good, lots of action, Sarah is very emotional, but then there's the rest. What's going on? Why is Michael telling the cops about the future? They're not gonna believe it. Is that even his name? I forgot this guy's name. Name. That's how dull he was. He's in love with Sarah. Yeah, that's her name, Sarah. And that doesn't make sense because he's from the future. He's never met her, but he's always been in love with her. And then he's supposed to be John's father. So what? It was destined in time for him to go back in time so they can. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. The only good parts about this is Sarah and the Terminator. Even some of the acting. The acting is just not that good. I just remember there was a scene where the Terminator puts a gun at Sarah and she has this bland expression on her face. What is supposed to be the point of this? I mean, and the sequel is so much better. I mean, Judgment Day. All the scenes, that mixture of with the practical effects and CGI, that is so much better. This one is not that movie. It's just a cheap movie. That could have easily been a homemade movie, if you must. I don't understand why the hike is so big. Rotten Tomatoes says 100% for this. This? Go on. I said it like that, but hey, there are a lot of problems. And yeah, I just don't get this. Also, it is very dated. The clothes, the hairstyle. Michael's supposed to be from the future, but he has this incredibly 80s hairstyle. This is 2029. That's very close. And even I know, because 2029 didn't even happen yet, but even we all know that's not the hairstyle people will have it back then, probably because, it's 2023. I think we even know at the time that the hairstyle might obviously change, or probably at least during the past 10 years of the movie past. Like you watch Judgment Day, you're just gonna see, oh, that's incredibly 90s. Like, you can tell from the actors, depending on who was around at the time, because that's kind of how you can tell the decade. Like a Marlon Brando movie, even if something's outdated, you can probably tell it's not anything new, because, yeah. But still, I mean, just everything is so 80s. And if you're around the 80s, good. Nostalgia trip, you like it. I wasn't around the 80s, so I'm stuck with crappy effects, crappy characters, crappy acting, and incredibly dated 80s stuff everywhere. Number 4, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Okay, I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. I even have a collection of some of his old comic books. Which is kind of why it's disappointing that I have to put this movie on a list, because it's just that there. I mean, Spider-Man is an excellent hero. What makes him work the best is that he's relatable. He has superpowers, but he does feel like an ordinary human being who deals with the problems we have to go through. In fact, his problems are even worse because he has superpowers. We got this big sense of emotion and relatability. And this film has a sense of that, but it's also incredibly campy. And yeah, the film and the comics have jokes, he quips, he's funny, but they have serious moments. And this one's just a little too campy for my taste. Like, even some of the old TV movies from the 70s about this guy are better than this one, in my opinion. And yeah, I know that's saying a lot, that these cheap TV movies are better than this one, but it's true. I mean, at least those ones aren't as silly or dumb as this one. Yeah, the effects don't work well, but this one is kind of like, the effects don't work well. Mary Jane is very unlikable, also very annoying. I mean, half her dialogue is her screaming, and I don't get this. I mean, and the comic books, she's a lot more complex. Heck, I really like her in the comics, but in the film, she's a nice girl that gets kidnapped and ends up falling in love with Peter. Even some of the later films, like Spider-Man 2, that's a good one. And the Amazing Spider-Man, the MCU Spider-Man, those are great. But this one is just very campy, and I don't understand. Okay, I know why people liked them at the beginning. There weren't that many creative comic book films, and this one is creative, but it's just not as big or amazing as other Spider-Man movies. Hell, other comic book movies. This is just a very big camp fest, They don't really know how to blur the line between the film and the comics. So this one is just very silly, very stupid. It's just something there. It's like It's not something I've rewatched many times because, well, there are more serious Spider-Man movies that I can enjoy. And there's some old ones that I can watch on a nostalgia trip that are actually surprisingly better than this one. This one. Old ones that you non-Spider-Man fans watching probably haven't heard of. But yeah, pretty much. Number 3, Monty Python's The Life of Brian. You know, this one is just kind of a disappointment and obviously a dip in quality because the best thing about Monty Python on their show and their film The Holy Grail is that they have this clever way of making the humor work. Whether it's shocking or dark or stupid, it works well. And this one, the jokes don't work. Because most of the jokes either rely on nudity, are funny because they are a reference to something inappropriate. Some are obvious, like when Brian is being crucified, Suicide Squad comes. Oh, let me guess, they're actually gonna commit suicide. Wow, shocking. And the main joke is the fact that these three wise men kind of accidentally went to Brian's house first before going to Jesus' house, thinking he was Jesus. And so people just follow him everywhere, thinking he's the Messiah. And on paper, that sounds funny. And it is funny when it starts, but I don't know, it somehow gets old very quickly, and eventually I just kind of become bored with it. And also, it's like, I don't understand that, because you bring it up once at the beginning, and then we see people follow it, and you're laughing for 1 minute, well, even less than a minute, a few seconds, but then they just drag it on for too long. And I know that's supposed to be the point, that's supposed to be the main joke. But it gets boring so quickly, and it shouldn't be. That could be funny to make an entire movie, but at the same time, it doesn't work that way. If it was a Monty Python sketch, I think it would have been funny for a while if it was just something like that. But even though it should work as a movie, it doesn't. I kind of think that the troupe themselves should have just kept the sketches. They should have made this a sketch comedy film, which they would do with their next film, The Meaning of Life. But this one just doesn't work, and I did not enjoy it. Also, it was the first R-rated film I saw, and I was 11 and I seen people like that, so yeah, that kind of disturbed me. That might be part of the reason why it's there, just because of the traumas it had for me, but overall, I just think this is a big disappointment, especially compared to the show and the last movie, The Holy Grail. Number 2, Titanic. Okay, I know this film has a diehard fan base. I know this is some people's favorite movie. I know that very well. But I just had to put this on the list because I have no idea why. I mean, my parents don't think it's overrated, but the only reason they don't is because it's on the Titanic. What? That changes everything. Honestly, because the story, I've seen it so many times, and I've seen it done better. It's the typical boy meets girl story. Oh, hi, kiss, they're in love. Even the tropes, like woman in a relationship she's not happy about, needs true love of her life. And the characters are dull. Rose has no personality, neither does Jack. There's nothing about them that interests me in them. I'm not supposed, how are they even falling in love? They only know each other for 3 days. I think it only takes them 1 day to actually decide that they found a one. And they just choose, we're in love now, I kiss you. Even that scene where Jack confesses his feelings for Rose and then she says, oh, I'm going to marry Kyle. And we know very well that she's going to realize that what she wants all along is right between this guy and come back to him. And yeah, I know it takes place on the Titanic, but I know there's good acting and I know it's a great historical thing, but the characters just aren't interesting. And the characters aren't interesting, then, well, the movie isn't interesting. I don't care what other stuff you put there. The characters are boring, so why should I care about what happens in the movie if I don't even care about what happens to people I need to be paying attention to? When the iceberg hit, the only people I was actually concerned about dying, well, were the people that were actually real. Because those were real lives were lost. These people, I didn't care about them. They gave me no personalities. So why should I care if they die? They're not real. And they're dull. And the number 1 most overrated movie of all time is The Little Mermaid. I could have made this entire list full of Disney princess movies. A lot of them are horrible. But I want to add some variety, so I got some other films that I think are overrated. I still chose to put this one because this one upsets me the most. First, all the characters are either very annoying or very stupid. And so, yeah, I don't like any of them. The only ones I really like is Ursula. And, well, the story. Ariel wants to see this ocean. Okay, but then she sees this man and immediately falls in love with him. Yeah, they're going with the love at first sight BS. And then she's so obsessed with her. And then she sells her voice to the sea witch, make a deal that if she doesn't kiss him in 3 days, she'll get her soul for a man that she doesn't even know. No. And then at the end, she just goes off abandoning her friends and family to marry this man that she barely talked to. What's the point? And then Sebastian is so annoying. So that stupid little eagle. The fish has no personality. Honestly, I don't understand the point of this movie. What's the message of this? If you want something very, very much, you should do anything, including giving up your soul for it? No. I mean, people think I'm a hater for not liking this movie. People think I'm too cynical or something like that, but still. I mean, I know it's a mermaid movie, but it still needs to make sense. I'm not saying it has to be 100% realistic, but they at least have to feel like real people, act like people actually act, and not by some weird thing that will just get some kid into it. In fact, I actually recommend the story it's based on, because that doesn't treat love first sight. It kind of a commentary on about young people taking a little attraction or crush too far. I think that works well, other than this, where it's obviously treated like love. Anyway, that's the video. These are my top 10 films that, in my opinion, are overrated. I'll see you later.